Hi my friends, this is Jay and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I'm glad you're here. And I have a lot to share because you know I'm always excited once I get a finish. Takes me a little longer, but I gotta finish. Do you remember, if you're still working, or do you remember back in the day or when we were younger? You remember thinking, Lord, I wish, I can't wait till it's time to go home. Oh, I can't wait till the summer. Oh, I can't wait till we get off work. Oh, I can't wait till we go away. Oh, I can't wait. And now that I'm older, it's like, you know the saying where it says time flies? People, time is flying. I am just, I am creeping along. I cannot seem to catch up with time. I think that's the main one of the, well, two things that I've noticed. I told you I was going to let you know, 72. This year it'll be 73 this year. But, I said I'd tell you about my senior journey. Like I said, I've never been 72 before. I didn't know what to expect. Too much sitting, not enough moving. Oh, gosh. And then trying to chase time. Sometimes, now listen, nothing's wrong with me. But sometimes what day is it? That's only because I don't go out that much anymore. You know how people, seniors that don't have family around them and so they don't talk a lot, they don't get the chance to talk. So they just don't use their voice. They just, well, I just find myself not like, because I like to do certain things on certain days maybe. If I was going to Sam's or somewhere, I'd pick a Tuesday or Thursday because I wouldn't want to go near the weekends when there's a lot of people because I have to walk slow, pushing that big old cart. And I'd have to get up and go, well, what day is it? Is it day Wednesday or is it day Thursday? Because I have no reason to check the calendar to know because I don't have to clock in anymore. In fact, when I finally left work, I was so happy way back in the day. I can't remember when I actually retired. I can't remember. But somewhere during that time when I retired, the power went off in our house. You know how when the power goes off, then you don't reset all the clocks and they just blink? I just let my clock blink for a year. I hated that alarm clock. So I just let those numbers just blink. It never bothered me. I never fixed it. I just let them blink for like a year. How the power had gone off and you have to go back and... I was so happy not to have to look at that clock or listen to it and tell me it's time to get up. But now I can barely keep up with days just run into each other. So hence, it takes me a little longer, but I gotta finish. I've gotta finish. And I want to share it with you because this is one that I had designed some time ago and I just didn't get around to actually putting it together, coming up with it. So I was over at Joann's and I happened to see this yarn. It's some Karen's Simply Soft. Of course, when we go to the counter, I'll tell you all the yarns, give you some suggestions. Here in Georgia, even though it's winter, it's very mild this year. So I don't really have a need for, heavy yarn yet. This is just plain number 4, like a number 4 weight, like I normally use. That's what I'm used to, but you're welcome to use any yarns. Like I said, once I go to the counter and we start talking about it, and I show you, all the different steps and parts of this sweater. This is Jay's Pretty Ruffles and a bite of chocolate. You gotta have that bite of chocolate. Because I didn't really buy anything for Valentine's Day, so I just get maybe one of those little mini boxes, and then you just freeze it. See, you freeze it, and then you can just get out one little piece just when you just have a little taste. And you can't eat it right away because it's froze. So it's a good way. Kind of trick yourself. Oh my gosh. All right, so as you can see, Jay, focus. All right, let's talk about my little sweater here. As you can see, it has a pretty ruffle I didn't want anything big and overdone. You know, I'm fluffy. I don't need anything really large. I don't think this kind of bothers my, I don't think this looks bad on my size. It's just a simple little ruffle down each side, just to frame the front edge. This sweater is done in one piece, because I know that you like that. But there are a lot of steps. And so what I'm going to do, as soon as I thought about it, I said, what I need to do is jump on camera now, go ahead and wear it, give you an overview, and we'll go through the first part, and then stop that video and put that one up so that you can actually get the stitch and start working. Then I will come back in little short videos without all the big intro or welcome. Just go right into it. Maybe step 2, you know, like step 1, this is up the back and up to the shoulders and then down each front. Step 1, step 2, maybe step 3, and probably step 4 would be the, like, all the little finishing touches, the little things that you need to know. So I think it's not going to be really I don't think it's a crochet along, because, you know, I work fast, people. I might be 72 and I might walk slow, but I work, you know, I can knit and crochet fast. Look, I'm already 2 sweaters. I've got 2 sweaters I'm working on, 2 knit ones. So, but I wanted to go ahead and get this up and get you started. All my crocheting buddies, thank you so much for waiting. I hope you give this a try. And you got to give this a try. This is so nice. You can dress it up, or you can dress it down. You can dress it up, or you can dress it down. You know, I'm not really lacy, frilly type, but I do like to, you know, I like a little extra when I go out to meet people or to be out in the public. But at home, you know, I just sooner put on my sweatpants. But everyone can use this, especially if you're still working or you still have places to go and people to see. So I can't think of anything else but to just go ahead and break it down for you, get it started, get this video up, and then I can work on the others. And I will be working in real time because I want another one of these sweaters. That's how nice it fits my body, and I'm going to try to help you get a good fit too. I don't know if I can kind of lift up the bottom. I don't want to stand up because I might get out of frame. But as you can see, there's a little hint of lace. I'm going to show you how easy and simple that is. Here's how the ruffle is. The last thing we do is the ruffle right there. So you don't have to worry about that. There's a lot of crocheting that's going to be going on before we get to the ruffle. Oh, and then one of my friends, I think it was Mary, asked me, she says, Jay, where is that? She says, I've looked on the videos and I cannot find this little flower. This little, remember the sachet flowers? You know, I still have a shopping bag full of this sachet yarn. You remember back in the day, and it was a rave, you know, making the sachet scarves. You know, that was a pretty scarves, weren't they? Maybe we need to bring sachet back, because I got a whole bunch of it. Do you? But anyway, I found the video. I had to look again. I told her, Mary, gosh, that's been so long ago. But I did. I looked. And it's episode 19. So at the end, I will be sure to add that video. I will add the link over in my comment section. I always like to put it in my comment section because most people are watching the comments and they have to go over there to the show notes and go down. And so I'll put the link, and you can go back in case you want a sachet flower too. A sachet little corsage. So, I can't think of anything else. I didn't buy anything other than just some yarn to make this and, you know, pick up anything that I thought was new. But no little gadgets, no nothing. Got my crochet hooks. Looked around for some of my pretty crochet hooks to put out. I can't think of anything else. Simple stitch. A little ruffle. And a bite of chocolate. Now, what could be better than that? So, are you with me? Well, nothing else to do, but let's go to the counter and let's get started. All right, so I'm ready to share with you a nice overview of this. Really, I think it's a simple little sweater, but it's going to be one that you will be able to crochet and to use and to fit your lifestyle and to wear it in everyday places. And you're going to feel comfortable because it's going to be something that you can, you know, like it will go with a lot of things. So this is, you know, the Ruffles and a bite of chocolate. I'm probably sure by now, by the time I put it up, I'll have a real name or something. But I didn't want to say Valentine. As you can see by the calendar was blue. The Stephanie Ryan, who did the legacy calendar for the month of February 2020, she decided on blue. Well, you know, I use that as my inspiration. So I went with the blue too. I kind of like the blue. So here we go. All right, here's the front. And as I said when I was wearing it, you see there's just this nice little ruffle. And it's just a very simple crochet, but yet we're going to take it and make it just blossom into something really pretty to wear every day or special, for something special. It's done in one piece. This is the front side. I'm going to move my little corsage. This is that sachet yarn. And I try to keep the basic sweater simple just because of the color. And I'm going to go over the yarn, but just because this is not a variegated. I don't think you call this variegated. It's more like a tweedy yarn, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. But as you can see, it's just open up. How pretty it is. And I added some buttons down here at the bottom. Since I will be doing a crochet, or you'll be doing a crochet like front neck band, you will be able to use the double crochets because you know they have their own holes anyway. You see that. And if you get the right buttons, I think these are too large. These are the only ones I had at the time, and I put them on there, but I think I'll take these off. Let's see if these are on camera. They just looked really like every day, you know, like something you'd wear with your jeans or something else. But then when I was looking through my stash a little while later, I came across some old buttons that I had gotten at Hobby Lobby on sale for like 60 cents. I've had them for years, a couple of years, I think. I'm going to bring them close so you can kind of see them. So they have like a little iridescent look to them. So they might go, and I could put 4 little small ones, and these would definitely, you would definitely be able to put these through the little holes, you know, on the side if you wanted to kind of use them to button or something. See, it would go in there. So I could take these off, which I probably will, and maybe go to this. You think that's too fancy for that sweater? I don't know. But I have at least 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that'll look nice. So that'll be a possibility. All right. Like I said, the ruffle is the last thing. So let's go to the first thing that we want to do in this overview real quick. All right. This is a sweater that we will start at the very bottom, at the back, on the very bottom edge. Can you see that? This is where we'll make our chain, and this is where we will start our stitch. And you know, if you've crocheted, a lot of you have crocheted with me, I crochet by, or I fit, or work by the number of repeats. So if you're new to my crocheting with me or my channel, and you may not quite get it at first, but it's just a very simple, it's not rocket science, people. If I can avoid counting chains, because I don't know how many chains it's going to take. It's not like knitting. Knitting, we have to have a certain number, okay? But crocheting, I found that I could fit my body, because my body's always changing. From the time I came on, and a year in Weight Watchers, Judy and I went to Weight Watchers for a year, and we went down, and then we went up again. Now I'm just out of control. Jay has just lost control. Okay, so, but the easiest way that I found to fit or to help since I've been on YouTube is to show you how to do it with repeats. And therefore, I always start with a long chain, a chain longer than what you need. And I'll go over that once we get to that section. All right, but here's the back. And so now we're going to start here just crocheting. Well, really, I know this is going to be confusing, but you'll understand in a little bit. This is how we this is how it's gonna be crocheted. Here's the bottom edge. Really, it's this side that's the bottom edge, and we crochet up and up and up and keep going to the length that we need to get from our waist to our shoulders. I'm going to go over about how to measure, right? But right now, just to let you know, so that's one long piece, and it's going to be like just a nice big old square or almost square looking piece of fabric. And then that's when I'll show you how to take the bottom and turn it so that the bottom becomes a top, and then we can eventually come over the front. We'll connect our yarns, and then we'll start down each front, right and left side. Can you see that? It will all be clear, and you're going to go, oh, wow. It just helps to try to make it all in one piece. Then, once we come down the front, this band is already included, the neck band, so we don't have to pick up or add any kind of neckband to this project, like I would probably have to do in knitting if I didn't do it this way. And the last thing we will do, oh, and then of course, I'm not adding sleeves. Let's see, which one of these am I closer to? Well, maybe this one you can see a little bit. I just left because I wear a lot of turtlenecks and mock turtlenecks, and you know, I always have my little white tees underneath, so I didn't add any more sleeves than what I already created once I sew up the side seam. And then you can just kind of, you know, put a little edging on it, and that's the way I prefer it. You can add sleeves if you want. I'm just not I just don't care for crocheted sleeves. Don't ask me why. And at the end, last but not least, then I will show you how to come along, and I'm going to pull this up, and how we put on this nice little ruffle along the edge. Can you see that ruffle there? Isn't that pretty? Just real pretty, but not overdone. What do you think of that? All right, that's the overview. I want to move on now, because we've got a lot to cover, and I want to remember this is going to be done in parts. This is the first part to get you started so that you can actually start work by the time this little part, this introduction video. Then I will have you to go so far and stop. Wait for me. Then I'll come back and give you the next step. It just seems to help keep my mind and keep me going if I do it in steps. For instance, all right, first of all, I work in number 4 yarns because that's what I'm used to. The system that I'm going to show you know how to do by repeats. You can work it on a smaller yarn or anything else, you know, once you get the idea of what I'm doing. But here's some yarn. Here's some yarn be soft and sleek. You're going to need, now you have to know your own size. I don't know about grams and all of that. I just always buy in 4s. I always buy 4 skeins of whatever I'm going to buy because my body's fluffy and I know it's going to take at least 4. If I'm going to add sleeves or do something really crazy, then I'll go back and get 2 more skeins, 5 and 6, just to have it. You know, if I was doing sleeves or some kind of big cow collar. But at least 4 skeins. Here's soft and sleek. It's a pretty little, I just picked these up just as a sample. Let's see if I'm up close enough for you to see that. Soft and sleek. It's kind of a pretty gray color, but you can do any color you want. All right, then here is Heartland. Haven't done Heartland in a while. We just want a basic number 4 yarn. Not real skinny and not thick. You know, I don't know if those thick and thin yarns will work because this stitch, the stitch that I'm going to share with you is really tight. It's nothing, you know. So I think you just want something smooth like this. Here's a tweed. I have no idea. It says Heartland Tweed. It's just some out of my stash, people. You know, Jay is stash. You know, I'm the stash buster. Out of my stash. Got a lot of different colors of this when it came out. All right. Oh, of course. Here's another standby. Anything. Here's Red Heart Soft. You know, it's my favorite Red Heart, about the only Red Heart that I really use when I get ready to make sweaters. It drapes nice, it gives a nice weight, and it's just one that I always keep in my stash. I have it in every color, every color. Here's a pretty soft, well, it's got the wrong label on it. This is a pink. Okay, so now here's a yarn that I did the one you saw, blue. You know, my go-to yarn, even though, yes, I know crocheters complain because it splits. It does split, but the end results is always beautiful and drapes beautiful. This is Karen Simply Soft, and it's called Speckle. Karen Simply Soft, and it's called Speckle. And I guess soon this is blue. They call it purple speckle. No, Galaxy. I'm sorry. This is Galaxy. And it has a blue. Has different colors of shades of blue, and there's a little purple in there too. And there's a nice little pattern on the front. I hadn't looked at that. For you guys, well, I don't know if a guy would really wear that. But you can still use the pattern, you know, and use another yarn. They have this, you know, they have it in other colors. But anyway, so that's the actual blue. But while I was there, they have this, like I said, several. Here is the speckle in, this is called Lipstick. Lipstick is kind of a pink, mauve. It doesn't have any burgundy, but there's a pink. So I had bought this, and because I was thinking her calendar would have pink. So this was going to be the original color, but then to my surprise, when I turned the calendar, it was blue. So I had to run back and get this instead. So these are just some yarn suggestions, but a nice number 4 medium weight yarn. That's all you need, people. Or you can use any yarns, except don't use heavy yarns because it won't drape. You're not going to, and you can't put this ruffle on there. So you need something number 4, and you can do a number 3, or, you know, something like that, if you like working with smaller hooks. I'm going to be using an eye hook. Most of these probably call for an eye, which is fine. An eye hook, and I don't know the millimeters. Mine are all rubbed off. 5.50 millimeter. I'm trying to learn how to say all that. But an eye hook. This is a US eye hook slash 5.50. If that helps. Okay, so now that's the yarn. That's an overview, the yarn and the hook. And the next thing I need to show you is just simply, I guess I have somewhat of a formula, but show you definitely how we're going to how it's going to fit your body. All right, I'll be back shortly. Okay, let's talk now about where you're going to measure and how you're going to measure how much chain to make. Okay, here is, real quick, here's my pillow body. This is my body, this is your body. And the way what I want you to do is to make a long chain. It's just a chain longer than what you're going to need for what we're going to be making. We're starting, and we need a measurement from one side of your body across the front. Here's your belly button. See the button? Across to the other side. Now, if you are larger in the bust area, more so than in the waist or midriff like I am, then you will simply take and make a chain, put it under one arm, have on a good bra, go across, and go up under the other arm. You might need some help, or, I don't know. But anyway, you'll go up under the other arm. And that's a chain across the front of your body, across your bust line. If you are more, if you're just larger in the bust than you are in the midriff, okay? You're going to make a chain across under each arm, just like that. All right, then go ahead and keep chaining, because we need a long chain. This stitch is going to eat up all that chain, and crocheting, whether you agree or not, eats a lot of yarn. So now I'm going to take it and keep chaining till I have, you don't have to go almost double. You can go, but at least go, you can almost go double. It's all right to go double. It's better to have extra chain. So just double it up. Just go again, and then says, okay, that's my long chain, Jay, across my bust. I use my midriff because I'm larger there. So I go from here across my belly button to my other side, from one side of my body to the opposite side, just like that. And then I keep chaining until I have about that much left, about the same amount. Does that make sense? That's the long chain. Now, it's the number of repeats that will determine where you're going, how many you're going to work. But that's how you measure the chain on your body for this sweater. or the sweaters that I use to crochet with. I also do the same thing in knitting, but I count the stitches in knitting. We're going to count repeats. Alright, so now the next thing, alright, just to have some kind of little schematic. You know, I try to give you a little schematic when I can or where I can, just so that we're all, so that you can see. Now I'm going to have to pull in a little bit for this because, there we go. And here's a simple schematic. I'm going to use an eye hook. I think it was 5.50 millimeters. Number 4 yards. Now look, you see this long line here? This long line represents that chain you just made. In my formula, this is my working formula, and this long line right here represents that chain. Now I'm just going to slice and dice up this chain where I want it, where I want to have little separate sections or parts. I want to have a little border on one end, one side, and a border on this side, and it will be 3 double crochets. Everyone, everywhere, every size will get 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets. So that means I'm going to start with 3 double crochets. Then I'm going to start working the repeats, which I'm going to demonstrate, and we're going to work together. And then you'll be able to see how many of these repeats it takes to go from one side to the other. And then you'll end that, after you've done the repeats, you'll end with 3 double crochets to match this side. Does that make sense? Alright, so there's your little schematic, just something so if you needed something in writing. And I don't produce written patterns, but I'm going to show you how to write this up once we get started so that you have your own notes and own pattern so that you can make this in your size anytime you want it. Alright, let's see now. What's the next thing I need to do? Let's just start stitching. Like I said, I did not use a stitch book on this. This is just a random stitch that was already in my head. If you have ever done Afghans, when you see how simple, you go, oh yeah, Jay, that's something I use all the time. Sometimes you don't need to have to go get a fancy heart stitch. I wanted something everyday, easy wear, easy care. A lot of the people that follow me, you're younger than me and you still work. And you know, you want to be able to match up things with the clothes that you wear, the normal clothes that you wear. You know, everything is, you know, I don't have nowhere fancy to go. Alright, so I'll be right back and I'm going to show you how to get started, how to make this look like our schematic. Back in just a minute. Alright, so now we will start to work our chain. We will take the working formula and we will put it to this chain, this long chain. It's better to have extra chains at the end because right in the middle of designing you could change something and then you would not have the right number of chains. So everyone, everywhere, and every size, you're going to have 3 double crochets to begin as a little border. So in the 4th chain from the hook, using my eye hook, I count over 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th chain from the hook, I'm going to put 1 double crochet. Okay, so that represents 1, 2. Now in the next chain, I'll put 1 more double crochet. There you go. There you have it. There's my little 3 double crochet border. Alright, then you chain 1. Oh, you know what? Before I go any further, there's really like 2 rows, so I want to go ahead and add the numbers because I think it will help you and it'll be important. This is row 1 and this is the right side. Make sure that's hitting on the camera. Yep, row 1 and this is the right side. Alright. So, after my 3 double crochets, I chain 1. Now I want you to skip 2 on the bottom. 1, 2. And I want you to put a double crochet in the next chain. Just like that. Alright. Now, I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to turn my work just a little bit just to make it easy to crochet. What we're going to do, we've done this stitch before, you do it in Afghans all the time. We're going to cluster, make a 3 double crochet cluster around this stitch here, but we're doing it horizontal, not into the stitch, but across the stitch right there. Does that make sense? So here we go. 3 double crochet cluster. Yarn over, go up under that stitch, pull up a loop, stop, go through 2 loops. Okay, then do it again. That was 1. Yarn over, go under, pull up a loop, go through 2 and stop. That's 2. 1 more. Yarn over, go up under, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. I have 4 loops on my hook on this 3 double crochet cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull through all 4 loops and chain 1. There's just a little horizontal stitch, little horizontal 3 cluster stitch. All right, put a little yarn. See, it eats up a lot of yarn. That's why I wanted to make sure you have enough chains. Does that make sense? Now, here comes the simple repeat. On row 1, there will be a chain 1 between each little repeat. So we've already done the cluster, chain 1. Now I'm going to skip 2 on the bottom though. 1, 2. So skip 2 on the bottom, 1, 2, and then I want you to do a double crochet in the next chain, a double crochet in the next chain, again double crochet in the next chain until I get till I have 4. So there was my cluster, chain 1, skip 2 on the bottom, and I did 4 double crochets. Make sense? Alright, on this 4th double crochet, every time I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do this cluster or horizontal. Work across this stitch right here, the last one, but I'm going to work horizontal, going around it. Let's go. Yarn over, go up under that stitch, pull up a loop, go through 2, stop. Yarn over, go up under the stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. 1 more. This will be number 3. Yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2 loops, stop. I have 4 loops on the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's my cluster. Pull through all 4 and chain 1. Okay, skip 2 on the bottom. 1, 2. So I just make it easy. I make it easy for myself. Double crochet in that chain, in the next chain, double crochet and double crochet in the next one until I have 4. Just like that. 4 double crochets. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Turn it a little bit. I just kind of tilt mine a little bit just so I can work horizontal. All right, in that last one, the last one we made, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2. I have 4 loops, pull through all 4, and chain 1. Okay, let's see what we have. Now we have the beginning of a little pattern, and you can call anything your repeats, but I'm calling the clusters. We're going to eventually count these little clusters as our repeats. So let's continue on. Now you got the little sequence going. This is what we're doing on our schematic. All right, after you chain 1 after that cluster, but down at the bottom you skip 2. 1, 2. Let's go again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when you get to the 4th double crochet, you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. I turn mine just a little bit so I can work horizontal, up under, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop, yarn over. The same stitch over and over. 1 more. Needs to be 3, so that you'll wind up with 4 loops on the hook, pull through all 4, and chain 1. We're on row 1, so you chain 1. That's why I did it that way. I started to do chain 2, chain 3. I thought, no, I'll just do chain 1 because I'm on row 1. It makes it easy to remember. skip 2 on the bottom, 1, 2, let's go again. We're simply reading our own working formula from the little schematic, a long chain, and I'm just kind of dividing it up into the sections that I want or need for my design. Does that make sense? Okay, here's a 4th one, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn it a little bit, and I'm going to work across this stitch. I'm going to put 3 double crochet clusters. It's 1, 2, 3. Pull through all 4, chain 1. Okay, skip 2 on the bottom. 1, 2. All right. Make sure I'm skipping 2. I can't hardly see that. I see 1, 2. Yeah, there we go. Skip 2. Now I need 4 double crochets again. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Work horizontal across the last double crochet. 1. Oops, got my yarn all tangled up. 1. Okay, 2 and 3. And pull through all 4 loops, chain 1. Alright, now you're going to continue that across your long row. You don't have to make it all the way to the end, but make it more, go enough that, because, well, let me just show you the next step. You're going to do enough of these clusters so that we can put it against your body. And this is how. Let me come right back. Let me go ahead and I'm going to switch to a sample that I have enough. I don't have enough on here. Alright, I'll be right back. Working across now. Alright. We are still on row 1, and I have been working the repeats, and you have been working the repeats, and maybe to halfway point of your chain, just enough so that we can now take. You can now take this long chain of repeats, go to your mirror, go to your bathroom mirror, whatever. Here's your body. Now this is going to be kind of close up, so I don't have to move the camera again, but you'll be able to tell what I'm going to do. So now, whichever part of the body that you measured or you counted the chains, whether it was your bust line or your midriff, now you're going to take these repeats that you have done on your chain. You don't have to go all the way to the end of that chain. Remember, it's long. We just need enough to count. Now, starting with the first, and I'm counting these clusters as my repeats. In any pattern that we use, you can decide what you want to count as a repeat in order to measure. We're getting ready to measure. Here's a border that everyone has. Don't worry about the border, just skip over that. Put your fingers right here on the first repeat and run it across your body to the opposite side, just like that. Whether it's up at the bust, from under one arm, across your bust with a good bra on, and up under the other arm, you just have your fingers on these repeats. Okay, not the border. Alright, so now stop. Once you do that, I'm down here on my, then I'll stop and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's see if I had, so if I have a nice fit and I kind of pull it, 9, alright. You want to land on an odd number. Say if I it worked out that I landed on 10. Well, you'd go up to the next odd number, which would be 11. But for practice sake, this happens to land on 9. That's perfect. Okay, so it took 9. It's going to take 9 repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for my pillow body. On my real body, it took 13. It might have been 12, but I had to go up to 13. You want an odd number. When I crochet, as much as possible, I try to use an odd number. And I'm going to explain to you in just a minute. Alright, so 9. But now here's the trick. Here's the thing that you need to understand. That's the real stretch of the yarn. That's the real, but we need positive ease because we're coming up the back, coming over the shoulders, coming down the front of your body. So once you have a good odd number, I have 9, you automatically round up to the next odd number. So instead of 9, on this I would use 9, 10, 11. Let me stop right now, take a breath. Say what? People, it's not rocket science, but I promise you it works. You see me wear my clothes, you see me at my weight. I've gone from nice size when I came on YouTube to out of control, and I can still use the same formula and come up with something that fits. So I automatically round up to the next odd number. So I had 9 on this little sample here. So instead of 9, I would go up to 11. On my real, and I'll go over it again, on the real sweater, I had 13. It took 13 repeats to go from 1, not counting anything to do with the border, just counting these little clusters as my repeats. I had 13 or close enough that I need to pull it, so I have 13. Then I automatically I went up to 15. Remember on my schematic? Mine was 3, and then 15, and then 3. See, I rounded it up. When I knit, I do the same thing, but I will count the stitches. How many stitches does it take to go from this part to at least the center or all the way across if I need to? And then I round that number up to a number divisible by 4. That gives me 4 stitches up or down to make the design or to give me positive ease. It works. I don't know how. And if you've crocheted with me, you can see that it works too. And if you not, if you're a person that just needs some, I don't know. I'm a visual learner, and that's who I'm trying to help or to encourage to step out and crochet garments or knit sweaters and things. I don't know how other people do it. I don't know. So now on this, I know that I have 9, so I know that I'm going to have 11. Positive ease. So then now I need to tell you. So let's go to the next thing. Now let me get back my camera, or let me go back, because we got to finish up row 1 so that we can get to row 2. All right, so now here we go. So I already said that it was 9, and I rounded up to 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So see, I've gone over, but I got extra chains, and that's good. I don't have to stop and recount and refigure anything. I just pull back, pull all the way back to the 1, and we're going to stop at those double crochets, because I need to end. Remember our border? And first of all, always count everything twice. I needed 11 for my little sample here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I want to stop it. However many repeats you needed after you rounded it up, then that's where you want to stop. But we have to add the 3 double crochet borders, stitches for the border, just like on this end. So I'm just going to, I already had 4, so I'm going to pull back 1. Now, this end is matching this end. So I have 3 double crochets to end it, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn the work. Just simple as that. This becomes row 2, and this is the wrong side. Now we are on row 2, and this is the wrong side. And I'm going to pull it over this way so once I start working, you can see what I'm doing. Row 2, wrong side. Now, on the wrong side, everything that I separate, every time I separate or go into a new little stitch, you will chain 2. It's row 2, so chain 2. Row 1, I chain 1. Row 2, I'm going to chain 2 between all these little clusters and things. But one of the next thing I need to do, or as quick as you can, I take some contrasting yarn, and I'm going to tell you how easy it is if you put this contrasting yarn. Now, we can wait till we get up a little further. I'm going to go ahead and put it on so I can just kind of walk and talk you through. And you'll see it on my larger piece, the one that I'm working in real time. Okay, so you just take a crochet hook, this little piece of yarn, like a piece of fringe, make a loop, bring it through. Hope that's on there. And then bring the little ends or the little legs through the loop on this side. Now my side is marked, and I'm going to tell you, every time you see this color of yarn, you will know automatically I'm on the wrong side and I need to chain 2. Wrong side, chain 2. So once I chain 3 to start, hope I'm on camera here. Let's get going. All right, I have to stack the border on top, so that's a double crochet. I already had the chain 3, so I go into the next double crochet and into the next double crochet. So now I have 3 double crochets stacked on top of 3. Does that make sense? Let's see, how am I doing on my camera? I think that's good. I have 3 double crochets stacked. Now, row 2, chain 2. Don't even have to think about it. Chain 1, 2. Go to the top, and if you lift up, that little chain 3 on this cluster makes a little opening, a little hole there. So I go in, I single crochet there, chain 2, we're on row 2, 1, 2. I go over to the double crochets, I have 3, 1, 2, and 3, and chain 2, 1, 2. See, row 2 is the back side, and I wanted to get across, so I just changed the numbers to match. When I'm designing, I change numbers or spaces or whatever it is to give me a flow. I don't want to have to chain 4 here and 6 there and 8 there. I just figure out a way, if I can. Not all stitches, you have to, there's some law, you have to follow, but so chain 2, I decided to make row 2 chain 2, and it worked. Chain 1, 2. Go over to the double crochets, just like this. I have to do 3, chain 2, 1, 2, oops. All right, there's that little opening. I single crochet there. We're on the wrong side. I see my yarn, so I'm not confused on where I am. Chain 2, 1, 2, double crochet. Go all the way across. Chain 2, and I will see you on the end of row 2. See? Chain 2, row 2. Alright, back in just a minute. Alright, I'm coming up to my border. Make sure I'm on camera good. Well, okay. So I'm on the back side, still on row 2, so I double crochet as I come up to the end of my 1, 2 of my repeats, and in this last I do a single crochet, then chain 2, 1, 2, and then I have to stack these 3 double crochets or 2 double crochets, and then I go into the chain, or we call it the post, either way, so that I have 3 on this end to match the other side, the opposite. So there's my 3 there. Can you see that? Now I want to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work. Now I'm on row 1, the front side of the work again, and I'm going to work this so that you can make sure that you can work row 1 again. Alright, once I turn, of course, the first thing I have to do is work that little 3 double crochet border. So the chain is 1 stitch, and then I go into the next 2. Now they're just stacking on top of each other. On row 1, all I have to do is remember to chain 1 in between. Chain 1. Okay? Now look here. Right above this cluster, we had that chain 1. You see that little opening right there? It's a little stitch right there where we did the chain 1. Alright, I'm going to do a double crochet into that chain 1 stitch, just like that. Then I chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now watch. We need to go back and start and work across this double crochet horizontal. And I'm going to use this big space right there. Not down here somewhere, but right there. Double crochet, chain 3. Now I'm going to turn my work just a little bit to make it easier. And then I'm going to do the cluster. Yarn over, reach and pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. Yarn over, go under, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. 1 more. Yarn over, go, pull up a loop, pull through 2. I have 4 loops left on my hook. Pull through all 4 and chain 1. We're on row 1, so we chain 1. Now I go over to those 3 double crochets. 1, 2, pull some yarn out, and 3. There, all right, I've stacked them on top of each other. And what do I need to do? Chain 1. We're on row 1. Look for that single crochet right there, that stitch, right above the cluster, so that I can stack 1 cluster on top of the previous cluster. So I'll do a double crochet into that stitch, 1 double crochet, now chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to rotate it just a little bit because I'm going to work around this double crochet and put a cluster. So yarn over, go up under, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. Yarn over, go under and pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. 1 more. Yarn over, go under, pull up a loop, pull through 2. I have 4 loops on my hook. Pull through all 4 and chain 1. Now let's continue across. Alright, then of course the next thing I see are those 3 double crochets, so staying right in pattern. See, there's a flow to it, so I change things as much as I can. Like I said, it's not rocket science, and sometimes I can't always get it just perfect, but sometimes sometimes the stars line up. And it did on this nice sweater. Okay, so I see that I have 3 double crochets. I need to what? Chain 1. Then I put the double crochet right above the cluster in that single crochet stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I turn it a little bit and I work 1 cluster, yarn over, go through, pull up a loop, 2, yarn over, go through, pull up a loop, go through 2. There's 4 loops on the hook, pull through all 4, and chain 1. Alright, then double crochet. Now, you're going to work across your chain that fits you now to however many clusters and double crochets you had till you get to the end. You'll work the border just like before, chain 3 and turn, and you will be back on row 2, which is already marked. Okay, and as I go up, well, I'm getting ready to show you anyway. Let me show you the next. So you will work that. So now let me tell you how it's going to look. Let's see, can I do it without even changing the camera? Alright, so now I'm going to move all of this, and I'm going to get the one that I'm working in real time, only because I like the stitch and I like the sweater, and I wanted something that I can casually put on, and I can always use maybe a little off. Now I'm going to go back a little bit. Zoom back. Okay, so now here is the one that I'm working in real time. Let's see which side of the camera I'm on. All right, as you can see, I have the back mark, and as you go up, I either add more or move these up so that I don't have to search for it. I don't have to have my eye to search for it if I'm trying to, watch a movie or watch something, and like, am I on the right side or wrong side? Because row 1 is chain 1, row 2 is chain 2. So I just move it up or add more as I go up. See how quick and how easy it is to say, oh, I'm on row 2, chain 2. Now, this is, we're going to work from your waist. This is not this is not over your hips. This is right above your hips or at your waist, right above the hips. And you're going to work this row 1 and row 2 back and forth now until we get to the top of the shoulders. And once you figure you have to just go to the mirror and hold it up to your body. I had 17. You remember I do things I call easy count. That means I find something just to count. I don't try to measure. Sometimes you just can't measure. But why not just count these little clusters on the end? And you just count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you get up close to your shoulders, you want to stop and count how many clusters does it take to get up there. Once you decided. On my original sweater, the blue one, I had 17. It took me 17. It wasn't quite 20 inches. It was right around 18 inches, if you want to say inches. But when I counted my clusters, after I kept measuring, I knew I needed to get to at least around 18 inches. So I stopped and counted the clusters on one side, on this edge here, and it came out to be 17. So I wrote that down. So 17. That'll be important once we go to the front. Because on the front, once we go over, the front, we will do some adjustments. So this is the work that you have to do. I have given you the beginning. I have explained it. I have demonstrated. I have walked you through. So now you're going to work rows 1 and 2 all the way up to where you want what you call the top of your shoulders or right at the back of your neck, so that we can come back. I want you to stop there. I'm getting ready to end this part of the tutorial. I want you to work to your shoulders, then stop there and wait for me there, because then I want to show you how to set up the neck and how that we're going to separate the right front from the left front and work the neck and that pretty border that goes down. So don't do anything once you reach the shoulders except wait on me there. Does that make sense? Are we together? Have I explained it? I hope I demonstrated. I hope you got a full understanding how simple this is. Now let me just say this. All right. Say if you want to do, you're going to do yourself one, and you might do your daughter one, or you might do your mother one, or you might do your sister one. Go ahead. If you happen to get up to your shoulder and you go, okay, I've got up to my shoulders. The smart thing to do, I always do, this is why I'm able to crochet or knit more than, Go ahead and find some more yarn. You got yarn you need to get rid of, people. It's either it's going to wind up in the Goodwill, or we're going to make something. You done paid your good money for it, so I would find, so if you're going to do your sister one, find some yarn of her favorite color, the same weight, and just start another one. Now, if you can't figure out how to, if she's not close enough to, to figure out how many repeats, you could say, you'd have to kind of use your own self as an example. If she's smaller, you could go 2 repeats lower, like I did 15 repeats, and say if I did one for my sister, say maybe she's a little smaller, I might go down to 13 repeats. That's just something, but if they're close enough that you can go and kind of, go through the process of measuring the repeats, voila. There's no reason not to go ahead and start one. I'd just go ahead. You already know the yarn, you know the stitch, you got everything now. This stitch is going to be in your brain. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, this whole thing is in my brain. I don't have a pattern. Another thing I want to share with you too. While you're waiting on me at the top, just wait for me there. Take your work, take it to your copier. You remember how I showed you how to make your, and you take this and lay a little sample of it on the copy. You don't need but about that much, you know, just a few inches. Now I use my black and white, but lay it on the copier if you want to. And then you'll have something. Now I'll show you mine. I'll take it out of the thing so you can see it. I may have to pull up a little more now, since we're going to talk about this. Okay, now I was running out of ink, but I got black and white enough. Okay, so I laid one little part. This was on the front part. Once I wanted to make sure I remembered how to do the ruffle, and I wanted to make some notes. So once I started the front, I laid one little section of the sweater on my copier, black and white, and hit print. Now I can kind of see, even though, I still have the sweater, but still I can make some personal notes. I write down the name of the yarn. You can even put your little yarn band in your little protector. I write down my little schematic line, I just write things down to help me to remember good notes, how I made it. Because right now it's in your brain, but say 6 months from now you got someone who's going to have a birthday and you think, you know what? I started that sweater. She's about the same size. I'm going to go ahead and I can use number 2 and make her finish up that one and give it to my friend. And you might just need a few notes. Of course, you can always come back to the tutorial and just take it step by step. So, you've got an assignment. You've got some work to do. I'm going to start on the next section. I will come back and you will be at the neck. You will be ready for us to work the shoulder and neck, and I'll have to show you how I do it. Because I have I do a little trick. So, this is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I think I'm zooming in on a better name than just Ruffles and a Bite of Chocolate. I found some music, so I might have a good name change once I come back. All right. Take care, enjoy, a lot of work to be done. See you shortly for step 2.